What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester, and a new era begins today. A new era begins today. Amorim starts at Carrington, working with players. A couple of the injured players, of course. A lot of players have gone off on international duty. Your Bruno Fernandez's, your Lisandro Martinez, Ugarte, like a big spine of the team has gone away, and they're going to be playing boring international games. But with Amorim being at Carrington today, the reports he's going to meet Darren Fletcher. He's going to have a chat with him, get to know him, probably meet a couple of more kind of in staff, like the has he met Kath yet? That's what everyone wants to know. That's the breaking news, isn't it? That's the breaking news. Has he met Kath? And has he give her a hug at reception yet? That's what everyone wants to know. We'll wait for live updates on that. As soon as we get them, we'll let you know. Well, he's meeting Darren Fletcher today, and the other players not on international duty have a day off as well. But he could still meet some of the injured players, basically. So Euros, your Malacias, your Mason Mounts, and players like that. And we had a report coming in last night that the players that are reportedly expected to be back from injury for the next game against Ipswich, Yoro, Mainu, and Malacia. Now, I think a couple of names that I've mentioned there in particular, Yoro, Mount, Malacia, Mainu, where are these guys going to fit into his team? Obviously, it's early days. He probably doesn't... He has an idea of how he wants to set up, an idea of who he wants to play. But he's never seen these players up close and personal in training. So that's a completely different situation to when you're just watching, I don't know. He's probably watched the last couple of games, I'm guessing, against Leicester and PAOK, etc. But these players haven't been playing. They've been injured. So he doesn't really know what to get from him. One thing I will say, though, is the reason why I've gone with Mount, Yoro, and Ahmad on the thumbnail is because I think those three players in particular, I think they're going to do really, really well under him. I think they're going to flourish in this Amorim system. I really do. I think Yoro, as I've touched on before, in that, the right-sided centre-back, defending channels, if you've watched him at Lille, you know what he's capable of. You know he's comfortable there, 1v1, whatever it is, good on the ball. I think he'll fit into Amorim's system perfectly. And that's one of them. That's one of the ones that I'm most excited about to see Yoro in this back three. I think we've had to wait quite a bit. Very unfortunate they picked up his, the metatarsal injury, what Lisandro had as well. But hopefully he doesn't have any setbacks and he's ready to go. And I said the timing of this with Amorim coming in during this period is the best way, because what we did with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, if you remember, we had an international break. We went into it. Everyone thought Ole was going to get sacked. They stuck with him. We came out of it, and then we got slapped 4-1 by Watford, and then it was a bit messy, kind of, bringing Ragnick in and stuff. So we brought him in at the right time. We made the crucial decision. And now we've got this kind of bit of excitement because some of the players who hadn't played under Tenai for ages, Mount's had the odd couple of appearances but not really been available. Malacia hasn't played in like 18 months. Yoro hasn't played since that pre-season friendly against, I don't even know, is it Rosenborg or something? I can't even remember. Arsenal, he picked up the injury, didn't he? Because Rasmus picked up an injury in the same day as well. So we haven't really seen these players. We've seen him in pre-season, and Yoro, from what I saw, looked good. Switching play, comfortable. Yeah, I think he made a mistake or two, but then had the recovery pace to get back and make up for it. So I'm sure Yoro's extremely excited. We know Amorim likes to use younger players anyway. Excuse me. So I think he's going to work with him, and I think he's going to be a big, big player for us in that back line. And then Mason Mount's another one. I know I'd probably say the majority, 70-80% of you guys in the chat are a bit annoyed with Mount. Didn't really understand the signing at the time because we have Bruno Fernandes and they kind of play in the same position. I get that 100%, and I'm never ever gone against it. I completely appreciate it. But if you've watched Mason Mount under Tuchel, when he played with a back five system, I'm not saying it's very similar, but positionally is where he's one of those inside 10s. I'm telling you now, which is a massive, massive if, because he hasn't done it so far, if he stays fit, he's going to play a key role under Ruben Amorim. And we even saw reports of that yesterday as well. Look at what Romano said about Amorim, what he wants. One of the things he's identified straight away is intensity. Players with intensity. And when you've watched Manchester United, they lack that at times. Marcus Rashford, I'm not just using him as a scapegoat. He isn't the only one. There are others in the team as well who lack intensity. I think Dalot does at times. I think Martinez can lack it. Like, there are players throughout the team you look at and they go, just off the pace just a little bit. Or maybe Eriksen, you would probably, I wouldn't say Lisandro, but Christian Eriksen, these kind of players, obviously he's a bit older, he's not as intense in the press. Like, he wants players who are committed, hungry. Literally everything I've just said there, Mason Mount, boom, 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 fits into that category straight off the bat. So I think if you can keep him in the squad, you could well see Mount, Højlund, and Ahmad as your three. Or maybe Bruno's in there and you kind of interchange and you can move it about. And like I said, Højlund becomes that supply line then. So I think he could play a key role, but again, it's that $1 million question. But it's the same. It's like saying the same thing with Mason Mount in it. Not Mason Mount, sorry, with Luke Shaw. I think Luke Shaw's going to do an amazing role. And then you're like, oh, well, yeah, he's played 2 games and he's injured again. One thing I want to know is, I don't know if Ten Hag was pushing him too hard. So, when we're picking up all these muscle injuries and we're hearing stories about he's double training him, when we have a bad result, it's double, and players feel like you need to go off the boiler just a little bit, allow recovery time, and Ten Hag were like, nope, these are the standards, these are the demands, you got to go, blah, blah, blah. But then on the flip side of that coin, how do you get intensity into the team without pushing them? Do you know what I mean? So it's a weird kind of balance, isn't it? It's a weird kind of middle ground. But obviously, with the amount of muscle injuries that we did pick up, you have to say maybe he was overtraining him and overworking him. So that needs to be managed slightly better. And if you can do that, maybe players like Mount will stay more available. Who knows? What we saying, people? Welcome to the chat, by the way. Please do smash the like on the video for us. I hope you're all okay. Mark Palmer saying, just seeing that Dalot is on a 4-4 game starting run. Yeah, he's knackered. He's knackered. He needs to rest, but he can't rest, can he? Because we've not got any wing backs. So, yeah. But that might change. That might change now. We might have options to bring in, especially when you're playing with wing backs. If Mount stays fit, he'll be our main guy. I'm telling you, Charlie. I'm telling you, people might not like it, but it's the truth. Deal with it. Gamer TV saying United may explore using Anthony as part of a January bid for Young. I'm going to talk about Anthony towards the end. Don't worry about that. David Harrington saying, I'm glad Casemiro and Ugarte are playing really well. Same with Eriksen. We run Manu into the ground last season. It won't do him any harm to be a rotation player. Spot on again. You guys are smart. You know what you're talking about. Afternoon, Nick. Hope you're well. Long time since caught alive. Your man Ahmad should really suit one of the 10s, in my opinion. Did well at Sunderland in those areas. My damned United, thank you, brother. I hope you're good, mate. Yeah, look, I'm really happy. I never want to make it a case of like a self-preservation thing. Like, I was right. I've always said this about Ahmad. I was right. I'm just happy. I'm really happy for him. When we was doing videos a couple of years ago, when he was at Sunderland and Rangers, and I, we were saying like, this guy's a talent, man. He just needs to keep going and keep pushing into the squad. And now he's arguably one of our best attackers, if not the best attacker this season, which is, the bar's not very high because, well, him and Garnacho, I think that's unfair to say that because Garnacho's been really, really good as well. But it's exciting, isn't it? Having those two in the team who you can grow with and develop. I think you bang a bit of experience in the middle there as a striker. I think you're cooking. I really do. I think they need that figurehead in that forward line. I know we've got Bruno behind him who's the captain technically, but I think an experienced seasoned striker. Imagine like a Benzema in between those two. I'd love that, but I can't see it happening. But yeah, you spot on, my damned. I like Mount. He was playing well at the start of the season before he got injured. As soon as he left the pitch, we've seen a visible drop-off. Mount was brilliant under Tuchel, loads of goals and assists, but his fitness is terrible. Rashford has done loads of talent, zero effort. Will Rashford get transfer listed? I'm not sure. I don't know personally, guys, how Amorim is going to use Rashford. I mean, Chivy mentioned on the show the other day that potentially he could go with using him as a striker. I don't know. I just don't think he fits that role, to be honest with you. I definitely don't suit the wing-back role. And then the inside 10s, I mean, maybe. I just don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see how it works out in it. And that's the exciting thing. There are 3 spots for Bruno on the team. Attacking midfield, centre midfield, right wing-back. A right wing-back is interesting. I've not heard that with Bruno Fernandes before. But I'll certainly take your opinions on that and have a conversation about it. I think with these players with injury issues, you can't count on them long-term, but should be used when they are fit for a few weeks to get the regular overused first teamers a rest. You know the squad too well, don't you? But I genuinely do believe Mason Mount could play a key role under Amorim. So I'm excited to see that, because he's another one who I've backed almost blindly, and maybe a bit too much at times when people are criticising him. Don't get why we signed him. I've never gone against that. I've agreed with, it was a bit weird at the time. Probably should have gone about a striker or a left back rather than bringing in someone who spent £60 million on, when we spent 60 million on Bruno, and it's in the same area. But obviously Ten Hag had this idea in his head that Casemiro, Mount and Bruno can work for this high transition teams. And you look at some of the metrics in the Spurs game last season, I want to say, you could see like, okay, the amount of turnovers we were getting, how well the press was working at times, and then within 20 minutes it just got debunked and demisted. And yeah, it's weird because I'm looking at Tottenham at the moment, right, with Big Ange and how aggressive he is with a high line, and their attacking metrics, and how well they're doing in terms of turnovers, winning it high up the pitch. But then you look at the games that they're having, losing to Ipswich and losing to Crystal Palace. Did you know this stat, by the way, about Spurs? At home, they've conceded first 14 times and then had to bring it back. You know, they're going through a bit of a Ten Hag moment at that period at the moment with Postecoglou, because they're doing all the attacking, the pressing high up. They play better football. I'm not comparing it. But there are similarities there, and they're just fragile. Like, they're way too open and inconsistent. So that's what they're struggling with at the minute. But anyway, my point was, having those in the team, it brings you certain qualities. Even go back to the start of the season, like Community Shield, and when we played Brighton, I think, and there was a couple of others where Mount was in the team, and the pressing structure was just way better. But then you lost something because you didn't have a striker in the team when we was doing that kind of 4-2-4. So I don't know. Amorim's going to come in. He's going to use a different system, and I think Mount can flourish in it. That's all I'll say. Another player, Amad, who I've already kind of spoken about, I think he's going to be mega for us. And I'm sure Amorim's looking at the performances in the last couple of games, licking his lips, thinking, I'm going to get this player doing bits. You look at how Trincao is for Sporting. I know Trincao is a lot quicker than Amad, but I think they can be used in kind of a similar light. And then you have a more kind of Bruno or Mount figure in the other 10 slot. So yeah, and he's comfortable in those half spaces, isn't he? Exciting times, man. I'm really looking forward to it. You've got Anthony as well. We had reports that United may explore using him as a part of a January bid for a young Flamengo star, which someone put in the chat before, Loren. I mean, I've heard numerous reports around this. If it wasn't already the final nail for the coffin when Ten Hag dropped him, Amorim coming in could be that final one. Or in a separate universe where there's magical stars and unicorns, he might be used as a wing back. You think of everything we associate Anthony with being good at, intensity. He's definitely intense for sure. Like, you cannot put that against him. Defensive work rate is really, really good. So he might be used as a wing back. I'm just, in terms of his output going forward, I really need to look more into how he uses his wing backs, because I know one's more advanced and one's a little bit more reserved, so it almost turns into like a 4-4-2 at times. But if he is on the left-hand side, he's almost forced to cross it, because let's be honest, Anthony isn't going to fucking cut in, is he, at left-back? He's not going to use his right foot ever. So in actual fact, you're doing a genius tactical deploy there by putting him at left-back, because he has to cross it. Now, Amorim's teams aren't necessarily associated with being crossing teams. But again, you work with the profile of players that you've got, don't you? And you kind of mesh a couple of things. I don't know. I could see him potentially being used as a wing-back. I can. Genuinely. Do not write him off. Do not write him off, because it is a theory that I would subscribe to in a minute. Big up Nick and Real Reds Talk Legends. That's from Steph. Big up Steph. UTFR saying Bruno won't be playing as a wing-back. He's our most creative player. He needs to be in an advanced central role. Personally, I think Marcus is suffering in his personal life. I think maybe he goes and gets sorted, or him and United part ways. And Ronnie Dodge says, I could see Mount flourish under Amorim if he stays fit. I think so. Look, with these players coming back now, you've got to think. So, selection-wise, you're going to play a back three. You've got Yoro, De Ligt, Martinez. Probably, right? That's going to be your back three, I would suggest. Obviously, Lindelof can come into that. Maguire in a back three. I think he could be very good. But I don't know where he is at the minute. He seems to be out for a while. I thought it was a couple of weeks and then he was coming back. But I think Maguire's actually been performing pretty well of late. So think of him in the back five. I could be really, really comfortable. Even as that like kind of central one. Maybe sometimes you can step out. Keep an eye out on him. Don't write him off yet, because he still wants to earn his contract. And then you've got Luke Shaw, again, another one if he can stay fit. The left-sided centre-back. I'm telling you, if he was fit all the time, I would even consider him putting him there instead of Lissandro. Honestly. Because I think he's really good on the ball. I think he's quicker than Lissandro. I think he's more physical than Lissandro. Might be controversial, but that's just what I would do personally. And then there's other ones who are probably not even mentioned in terms of centre-backs. Johnny Evans, fucking hell. I forgot Baresi. You got Johnny Evans as well, who were probably good. So you got actually decent options there. You got a blend of experience. You've got a lot of young players in there. Centre backs were okay, were good. Onana will be fine. You're not expecting too much from him in terms of being a sweeper keeper. You just need to be capable of playing out from the back. And Onana can obviously do that, and he's having a good season so far. And he's actually #1 for the Golden Glove, most clean sheets in the league. Would you believe it? Crazy, isn't it? Absolute craziness. So your defense is fine. You move into the midfield. Options you've got who could play the two kind of holding eights, whatever you want to call them. I think Casemiro, Ugarte, the partnership I like between those two, but I think in Amorim's system, one of them are more kind of box to box, crash to box like a McTominay would. So maybe Mainu will come a bit more into that. Mainu and Ugarte together. Bruno maybe could play there. Maybe even Mount potentially could play there. You've got options there. So you've got loads of Eriksen I've not even touched on as well. You've got loads and loads of options. The one where you don't have loads of options and may have to, put a square peg in a round hole is potentially the wing backs, because Dalot and Mazraoui, I think, can definitely do a job. I mean, Mazraoui's been playing as like, I don't even know his position. He's been like a left central forward, hasn't he, in games at times. The way how high he's pushing up and like drifting in sometimes. I can definitely see him as a wing back and Dalot. But I'm saying rotation for then. Let's say you put Mazraoui left wing back, Dalot right wing back, Anthony as a backup, or Garnacho on the left hand side, and then the right hand side you have, I don't know who could do that there as a wing back. That's something I need to think of. Any suggestions, throw them in. And then your front three, likewise, you've got Mount, Bruno, Højlund, Xerxes, Ahmad, maybe Rashford, maybe Marcus Rashford. Well, not sure. Anthony at left wing back, agreed. I've been seeing put him on the left for months. Anthony, ironically, has scored a couple of United goals with his right foot. I know, but we know, like, he's I would go as far to say, one, he's one of the worst signings in United's history and Premier League history. And two, excuse me, he's got the worst weak foot in the league. Definitely up there. One of the most heavily one-footed players you've ever seen in your life. I can't believe we was comparing him to people like Iron Robben when he first came in. Craziness. He's got a left foot. It's his only chance to recover his career at Old Trafford at left wing back, but that might be a short conversation with Amorim if he responds to him like he did when Ten Hag asked. I don't think he offers goals. I think he could offer something as a wing back. Maguire suits a back three. That's from Ronnie. I want to see how Onana does under the new goalkeeper coach. I think Mazza may start out as a right side centre back until Euro. Well, we've seen Dalot actually in the past couple of weeks. If you've watched how Rude's set up, I do think he's had it in mind, like with Amorim coming in. I think it's been Dalot, Martinez and De Ligt as your kind of your back three, and like I said, Mazraoui's been pushing right up, so maybe even Dalot might feature in like the right side. I don't know, but Euro's he's gonna be fit and he's gonna be available for Ipswich. So do you chuck him in? The answer for me at least is yes. I would definitely. Euro. This is how I'm lining up the first game, right? And I'm gonna save this for when we do the Ipswich preview next week. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it right now because I'm excited and I'm going to get into it. So, I'm lining up. I'm going Onana, Euro, De Ligt, Martinez, Mazraoui as your left wing back. And him with the license to move forward even more, by the way. Dangerous. I love Mazraoui as a player. So good. The midfield, I'm going... I don't want to rush Mainu back, so I'd probably stick with Casemiro and Ugarte, and Casemiro obviously can license to push forward. We know what he's like with goals and assists. That's how I'd put that there. And then I would go Ahmad, Højlund, and Mount as your front three. That's how I'd line up against Ipswich. Whether he does that or not, I don't think, because I think he might be a little bit cautious in just going straight for it. I think he might go with a couple of safe options at the start, and then the longer he's there, he kind of integrates him a bit more, if that makes sense. But that is what I would go with in the first line. Do you guys agree, or do you disagree? Is someone else you would bring in? Mazraoui could be a good player in a back three. Listen, Mazraoui, you could put him in any situation in life, and he would be fine. He is a player. The one quality I think about instantly with Mazraoui is he just offers solutions all the time. Where he's in a right back position, whether he's in a more attacking final third, whether he's in central midfield when he's inverting, whether he's on the left side, the opposite wing back. I think he's just been sweet anywhere, isn't it? And those players are such a luxury to have for a manager. And Pep has them in abundance. You know, players you could play. Ake could play centre back, left back. John Stones can push up into the midfield. He can play on the right side. He can play at centre back. Look at Gavardio, what he's doing. There seems to be an element of versatility pushing into modern day football nowadays. That is like a big quality. You have to be versatile. And like I think the same thing with like attacking players like Ahmad. Ahmad can play as that inside 10. He could play as a 10, I think, in general anyway, as a winger. Yeah, you need those qualities. Mazraoui's that versatile. He could cook the pre-match meal too if needed as well. I'm telling you, he's got it all. There's not a thing that man could not do. I reckon he's probably decent in net as well. He's probably decent in net. It wouldn't surprise me. So, yeah, Amorim coming in, players like that, he's like, these guys are gold. And to get him, sorry, we could just part this conversation on Mazraoui for a moment. I know we've said it before, people, but to get Nusra Mazraoui from Bayern Munich for £12 million is one of the biggest heists of the century. They said it about Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. They said it about when fucking Leicester done us for Maguire for £80 million. I'm telling you, it is one of the biggest heists going in. And I don't get it. How can you watch this player? I mean, I didn't watch him frequently for Bayern Munich, in all fairness, so I don't know if I know he had a couple of injury issues, and obviously they've got Joshua Kimmich and guys like this. I don't understand how someone's watching him and training him in games and going, 12 mil. 12 mil? Are you fucking kidding me? He's unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know, when you think we bought Wan-Bissaka, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to Wan-Bissaka, when you think we bought him for £50 million and Mazraoui's cost 1/5 of that, nuts. Absolutely nuts. So, yeah, I think I speak for all United fans who say they're absolutely buzzing. Before I head off, I had something that I want to pull up. So there's a United winger comparison on the ball between Rashford, Garnacho, and Ahmad that I wanted to just pull up. So if I can, just take a look at this, guys. So, chances created. So far this season in the Premier League per 90 minutes. Garnacho 1.3, Rashford 1.3, Ahmad 2.6. Final third passes, Garnacho 11, Rashford 14.5, Ahmad 20.3. Dribbles completed, Garnacho 0.8, Rashford 1.1, Ahmad 1.3. Superior again. Distance carried, Ahmad superior again by quite a bit. I mean, Rashford is 127 metres, Ahmad's 277 metres. And then shots, obviously Garnacho has the most, 3.9 per game, per 90 minutes, That's a lot. That's close to Haaland. Rashford 1.2, Ahmad 2.3, so quite nicely balanced in there as well. But yeah, to be fair, I was supposed to bring that up at the start of the show when I'm speaking about Ahmad, and I got carried away with the comments and stuff and went off in a bit of a mad narrative. But I forgot to bring that into the. But just to show you like a showcase of what Ahmad's bringing to the team, and long may it continue because that's my fucking boy. And yeah, I'm liking how he's playing at the minute. I'm excited for him. I don't know if anyone noticed, by the way, retro. This is like. This jumper hoodie was one of the first hoodies when we started this channel, one of the first hoodies we ever got printed. And I haven't worn it for ages. That was like our initial badge, what it looked like. So look at this in the top corner here. This is our badge now. That's what it used to be. For the OGs, I don't know if there's any OGs in the chat who followed us for a while. But yeah, you'll remember like the early days. So yeah, just repping a bit of retro. It's cold and it's getting absolutely freezing now. So yeah. Right, guys, I'll leave it at that. Like I said, I don't want to waffle for another 20 minutes. I want to give you like, you know, decent content. My Damn United saying, can we buy merch now? We are dropping some merch at 10k. We've got some ideas. We want to do it when it's legit. You know, when you got 10,000 subscribers, I think that's a good time to start merchandise off. So we're on 7,449 at the minute. You know, basically 2.5k off the 10. So as soon as we hit 10k, that's when we're going to start dropping merch. And we've got some like really good vintage, like football kind of vibes coming into it in terms of like streetwear and stuff. So yeah, some great ideas for that me and Sam have been discussing. And I can't wait to drop that. But in order to do merch, you need like a certain demand. So if there's enough people that want it and enough people, like we always say on this, there's enough people that want it and enough people want to do it, then we'll do it. No problem whatsoever. But yeah, for now, just keep tuning in, guys. Keep reacting, because one thing I love is, and I genuinely mean this, honestly, I love interacting and having conversations, because when you do, obviously when I do shows with the lads, you've got people to bounce off like Shreyas, Sam, Chivy, Adam, etc. But with you guys, you've got such a variety of opinions. It's easy to bounce back and conversate, and sometimes there might be things that I don't think of, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a great point, that, you know. So yeah, always appreciate the community. Always appreciate the Real Red Ultras who are in the chat. If you want to become a member, click the join button next to the notification bell. It's about £3 a month, just helps support the channel, and it all goes back into the channel in terms of stuff that we use for it. We had Sam actually, who was at Talk of the Was live last night. He was speaking to a couple of the lads there. Obviously, we've had Ian on before and Laurie Whitwell, and we're working on something there, so keep an eye out for that one. But I'm sure Sam will tell you about that later on. So yeah, just some stuff. With the international break, we usually have guests on. We usually do some different videos. So we've got, I was talking about variety before, we've got a variety of content coming up your way. So yeah, just as a thank you, we appreciate you guys as always. Look, it's Tuesday. It's still early week. Amorim's got a lot of work to do. Well, we're going to have more and more reports on, you know, stuff coming out. And obviously we're going to be here discussing it. So turn on that notification bell, hit that subscribe button. I put a poll up at the start of the show saying which players will flourish under Amorim. It says under Amorim. I meant to say under Amorim. 53%, so quite a big percentage, have gone with Yoro. 17% has gone with Mount. 6% has gone with Anthony. And 25% has gone with Ahmad. So Ahmad and Yoro are the favourites in that. And I absolutely get it. Completely get it. Right, guys. I'll leave it at that. Enjoy the rest of your day, whatever it is you're doing. And I'll see you later.